I want to guide my clients with the proper set of interiors. So if they request changes, I need to be able to tell them, yes, this is possible.
Welcome to Real Siblings, It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast with the goal to educate, inform, and save their listeners time as they navigate the market and properties in their neighborhoods. Get ready to join real-life siblings and professional real estate advisors, Donna Reed and Eric Seemann, as they discuss how it may be simple, but it ain't always easy.
Every time I think about the places I have known, I realize that times have changed. So I'll do what I can to make this house into a home. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Real Siblings, It Ain't Easy, this unconventional and unique podcast that blends real estate and lifestyle. I'm Eric. She's Donna. If you're watching, you're going to find out we have a guest. If you're listening, surprise, we got a guest. And thanks for joining us. We appreciate you spending some time with us today. I'm going to turn it over to Donna, and let's get this rolling.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. So I am in Tucson, and I'm super excited to introduce our guest today and tell you how we met and learn a whole bunch of stuff. So our guest today is Juliana Miguel. Thank you, Juliana, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Donna, for having me. And Eric, thank you.
You know, Eric is always in San Antonio. I'm typically in Tucson. He's in the car today, and Juliana is in Italy, right? You're in Italy right now? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So everybody, when I was in Italy a few months ago, we were flying on a small little kind of jumper flight to Ancona. And there were, frankly, this is my memory, Juliana, so then you can tell me if this is right or wrong. There were some older
Well, let's see
Italian,
if I remember.
I know. There were some older Italian men who were trying to get on before it was their turn. And you and I and that one other lady who spoke English were kind of standing there together. And I'm like, oh, they're pretending they don't know the rules, right? You know?
Yeah.
So you and this other woman and I talked just a little bit, and we got on the plane, and I said I wanted your information. So when we landed in Ancona, we traded information.
Exactly.
And and then you were kind enough to meet us a week later at the end of my art class. You and Giuseppe, is that your boyfriend?
Giovanni.
Oh, I knew it was one of those Geo names. Tell him I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry. Oh, and he says hi, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. So part of the reason that I was excited to have Juliana here is I found out during these short encounters that she is a yacht designer, correct? Are those the right words? Okay.
Correct. Yes. Yacht designer.
And she jokingly said she wasn't sure what happened when we met because she had just been flying back to Italy from Michigan.
Yeah.
So before we talk more about that, Juliana, behind you is a picture of an adorable little child floating in something. So why don't you tell our listeners where you are from and kind of the little story you told me about why you wound up designing yachts?
Okay. So behind it's a photo of me, a few months old only. And so my parents, they all love the naval industry. So as soon as I was born, a few weeks later, they gave me this tiny little blue inflatable boat. And it was one of my first gifts ever. And I always say that it's their fault that I'm in this industry that I love. Because they were the one who introduced me since my first days. And so when I'm from Brazil, and I did my university in Brazil, in São Paulo. And my first day of university, it was interior design that I did. My professor, he was explaining what interior design does. And at that moment, he was saying all the areas that we could work. And one of those areas was also boats, was naval industry. And it's very interesting that on that time, that precise moment, I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I told him this a few years later. And he said, really? I don't remember that. I said, I don't know if you said to everyone or only for me, but I heard it and I went for it.
While you were in college, then, did you have to switch, or did you just continue with interior design but with a focus on yachts?
I did interior design, the standard course from my university. And as soon as I finished, a few years later, I came to Italy to do my master degree at Politecnico. And that's where I actually learned much more about this industry.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Politecnico in what city in Italy?
So I was in Milano
Okay.
for my master. Yeah. So I studied at Politecnico from Milano.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I have to say it was one of those that Juliana, as Donna and I were talking about this, I said, I can't even imagine being exposed to that opportunity. That never, ever in our youth growing up in university did anybody ever say, oh, by the way, you can work in designing yachts.
And somebody asked me that. I was telling somebody that I was going to do this, and he goes, are you going to buy a yacht? Like, why are you talking? And I'm like, I don't think so, but
So it's very interesting. As soon as I started the university in Brazil, my parents, they always had boats, small boats. And we used to go for the weekend on the boat. And it was very tiny. And we were the four of us, my parents, my brother, and I, and the dogs. And we were very squeezed on that boat. And I was always looking, oh my gosh, there's so much waste of space. There's so much more that we could do. So I already knew I wanted to work with boats. So being on that boat with my parents, with my family, has always been kind of a learning curve.
That's
because
awesome.
I was always trying to, okay, how could we improve that? Because it's a nice boat, but it's missing space. Well, it's the main issue on boat, space. So
yeah, that's fascinating. So when we sat down and talked in Ancona that morning,
yeah.
I think that's when I found out you were coming from Michigan. And I was like, Michigan, because you guys, first of all, she said, it was really cute. She said, Detroit, no, it starts with an A. She barely remembered where she had been, right?
It was a crazy trip. It was 1 day and a half in the US.
Yeah.
It was like 4 days in total, 4.5 days in total of that trip. And it was touch and go. Crazy. I barely remember my name.
Yeah. So we talked about the fact that she was in Ann Arbor. And immediately in my mind, I'm like, who in Ann Arbor is ordering a yacht and what do they do? And they live in Ann Arbor, which is kind of close
Central
to the
Lower Peninsula, which means very, very small freshwater lakes, or Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and possibly on the far east side, Lake Erie.
Right, but not yachting country. So
No.
I think you told me that they were designing and it would be picked up in Great Britain, but that they wanted a yacht that they could do Scandinavia, right?
Correct. Yeah. So this boat is being built in the Netherlands, and this owner, he wants to travel a little bit also on the north of the globe. So it's a very important construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also told me that day that you had gone there with the idea that it was going to be 35 meters or something, but it wound up being bigger.
Yes. So it did started quite small, as always is with this kind of clients. When the client is doing a customized project from scratch, it's very common that the boat starts getting bigger and bigger because they want more space, they want more room for the crew, for the engines. And so at the end, that boat that started from 35 meters, it ended up with almost 45 meters. So
that's
10
what I
meters
thought.
bigger.
Yeah, 10 meters more. And
yeah.
The other thing that I had asked her, Eric, was how old is this person? Because I wanted to know whether this was young money or older money.
I'm thinking it was in Ann Arbor, it was pizza money.
No, it could have been pizza, but
so yeah, he's around late 60s. Yeah,
that's what I thought you had said. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Eric, do you have questions?
Well, Juliana, as I looked at your company profile and when I first saw your picture, and I have to say, you on video, you look exactly like the picture they have online for the design director. It was uncanny. Yes. It's like, oh my gosh, so lifelike.
That's good.
Thank you. I did not Photoshop that.
But when I looked at it, I know they have two classes, I guess, of basic boats. The original one that goes back 75 years, and then the catamaran style. But both of those seem to be smaller than what you just described. Is this going to be an entirely custom yacht that the business is building?
So this is a different company. After we met, me and Donna, I left the company I was working, and I decided to continue my own company. So today I'm consulting with Revolution Marine Group.
Okay.
That's where you saw the website and so on. And today my main focus is on the catamaran, on the 60 feet. So together with the shipyard, we are helping to improve the product. So improving the interior, the materials, the quality, to bring that this project to the U.S. market. And our first boat is coming to the U.S. in late June next year, in 2025.
Okay. And will that be when you say coming to the U.S.? Is that southern coast? Is there a specific west coast? U.S. coastline?
It's going to Florida. Yeah.
Going to Florida.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. It's going to Florida.
That why you
where our company.
The other week when we were gonna try to do this sooner, you were flying to Miami, right? You were going
correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go back to this boat for Scandin that can go north.
Yeah.
Does insulation in a boat or ship change based on what climate and what water you want to have it in compared to like, we're going to be in the Caribbean all the time, that kind of thing?
So it does change especially if you're gonna go to the extremes, to the north or the south, because you are gonna face icing. So you do need to have reinforcement on the hull. So it cannot be, for example, our boats that today I'm working, it would not be advised to go there because they are not boat built for that. Of course, there are always reinforcements that you can do, but it's different. It's much different. So, but the main reason is the ice breaking that you will face. And on the heating, you do have flooring heatings, you have air conditioning, hot air conditioning on the boat. So it's not an issue.
Okay.
It's only a production matter. So that's what's going to change.
And from a style, this is the piece that, if we want to relate this to selling houses at all, I know that if somebody's buying a large RV, they can get miniatures of everything that we put in our homes. So does the marine market, does the ship and the yacht market have a whole place where you go and you buy products that are smaller than standard size, that are specifically for a yacht? How does that piece work?
So basically, most of the furniture that goes inside a boat, they are custom made, because not only the size, but also the materials, they need to be plywood material, marine plywood material. It cannot be standard wood.
Oh,
So all the wardrobes, tables, the galley, everything is going to be custom made. Chairs, for example, are the, let's say, loose furniture that you can easily put on the boat. Those are standard furnitures. Of course, I'd rather go with products that are for outdoor. Even if I'm going to take these furnitures on the indoor, I always rather to be safe than sorrow. So if my clients, they have these beautiful chairs on the salon, but one day they want to put outside because, well, more guests, they just want to increase the number of people that they can have on their table. They don't need to worry, especially with the sun or some salt water that can come in. I always try to work with outdoor products, even if they're gonna go inside of the boat, because when you are on the boat, you're in the water, so you are gonna have the salt. It's gonna damage if you don't use the right products. It's gonna damage. It's basically like having a beach house.
yeah.
You're always gonna look for products for outdoor. The boat might be similar to that.
Okay. And when you say wood, so to me, wood is wood is wood, and then there's like press board. Is it a layered product, or is it something that just is reinforced on the outside on a, like if you're designing the kitchen?
No, it's not solid wood. We are not going to use solid wood.
Okay.
Or also laminated wood, we are not going to use it because whenever the water touches, it can absorb the humidity. So we need to be careful with the kind of wood we use.
Okay.
Because of the humidity, which is our main issue on a boat.
Okay.
So, Juliana, from a wood standpoint, I know what you just said, but is even like the base wood special to be adapted to become marine plywood? So not a standard oak or a maple that you might have in a house, but something that's different, that's considered to be already a hardier material that then's laminated to make it even stronger?
So basically what we use is the varnishing. We try to isolate the wood. So we can use on the boat. So some of the materials that you use in your home, we can also use on the boat, but they need to have some protection for that wood, especially for the tables. Because if my client says, "I want to have a real wood table," okay, we will do it, but it needs some treatments. For it.
That makes sense. And from a style perspective, so in Tucson especially, our population doubles in the winter, Juliana. So that means that a lot of retirees are coming from cold climates. Mm-hmm. It also means that when they move here, they often bring their decorating styles from where they're coming from. So our eastern United States has way more antiques than the Southwest. Mm-hmm. And our Southwest design is going to go back, kind of harken back to Native American and things like that, right? So when somebody's building, does where their age or where they're from affect their style choices for what they're going to do?
Yes, it does change a lot. Especially from Europe to the US, you can see a huge difference. In Europe, you have different colors, different tones on the veneer, on the fabrics. In the US, it's much different. I think my US clients so far, I could work much more with fabrics, with colors, patterns, but the veneers being and veneers not too much dark, so quite bright boats. Some darker touch, but not too much. But it's not a rule. I did had two clients with a very dark boat, very dark interior, but not classic. It was modern. So we were instead of using dark brown, we were using a lot of dark gray. and even in the ceilings, light medium gray, and you would have this incredible contrast, and you're like, okay, this is not the typical bolt, and that's what I like to see it. So
yeah,
it does change from the US to Europe. It does change a lot to the clients, and also the age. It does change.
Right. I would guess that if I was a 35 or 40-year-old who could afford a yacht, I'm choosing different than what mom would choose, right?
Yeah. It does change, yeah.
When she was talking about the shades of gray, it's like that's the current neutral here in the United States. It's not any kind of earth tone or honey or a wheat or a off-white. It's shades of gray right now. And it sounds like that.
Correct.
Design aesthetic is they're bringing it onto their boats too.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Usually what the clients, they do is they want to have the same thing that they have on their homes, they want to have on their boats.
Right.
So when we met, I was in Ann Arbor. I went to this client's home to see how they were living, to understand their taste in the interior, and have a clear idea how to develop their project. So
you stayed
it doesn't
with
matter.
Them. Didn't you say
Yes.
you stayed at their house?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that cooler?
Exactly. They were very kind, and we were at their home, and it was very important to understand their ideas. So it doesn't matter if it's a 45 meters boat, if it's just 20 meters boat, it doesn't matter. The client, they will want to bring their touch from their home to their boat.
Mm-hmm. I'm multiplying 45 by like 3.5 to see how big that is.
It's 140 feet.
140. I was going to say I did it by 3 and I got with it. Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, after you got your master's, how long have you been actually in the design side of things, practically, not studying?
Mm-hmm. So before I came to Italy, I did work in one of the biggest shipyards in Brazil at the time. I worked for them for almost 1 year, but they knew I had everything set for the master degree. So I started my career in Brazil in this industry. And my master I finalized in 2015. And since then, I've been working on this industry. Yeah, in Europe and Asia. Yeah.
So practical experience.
10 years?
Yeah, more than 10 years now.
Question is, in that 10 years, has there been a substantial change in what people expectations, or is this a market where if you can afford a yacht in this category, there hasn't been that much of a change over 10 years? Does that make sense? I don't know if I asked that well enough to make.
Let's see if my answer will answer your question. Maybe I understood. I did realize, especially working for my previous company, which was Silent Yachts, a few years. I worked for them for 4 years. And those are electric solar panel catamarans. So especially in that company, I saw a very different kind of clients where they were very interested on the sustainability. And a huge part of my job at Silent was not only developing the interior of the boat, but following the clients also to do the selections. In the sustainability, it did not end on the solar panels on the electric engines.
Okay.
It was also on the interior. So until today, I do a lot of research on sustainable materials. I try to bring this knowledge with me everywhere I go. Now that I left the company, I try to bring to these other companies, to these other clients. And I see that this is something that more and more people are interested.
That's cool.
Maybe I answer your question?
Yes. I just, is it long enough? I mean, we see design trends come and go, and outside of the standard color palette, there are things and expectations that as we've been in our business, people have a much different expectation now than even 5 years ago, pre-pandemic.
Okay.
The idea that you have to have an office space or a flex space in the house because of what the pandemic did. And it's like, oh, well, now we have to have this because kids are homeschooling and a separate office space or something along those lines. And I'm wondering if that's your side of the industry and what you do had any kind of change, not necessarily from the pandemic, but something that now is an absolute expectation that 10 years ago when you got into it wasn't or may not even have been a thought.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Most of the clients, they were interested in to know if their boats, their boat would have a space for home office, for sure. Even a few clients that I had, they were interested to develop an angle on that kids' room because they're going to be homeschooling their kids.
Okay.
Well, boat schooling in this case. But
schooling.
So it is something.
No.
Yeah. So it is something that, especially after the pandemic, it did became more and more popular. And also on that, materials that are antibacterial are also very popular. Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. There's a piece of me, and this is going to sound really catty, and I probably shouldn't say it, but there is a piece of me that thinks that if I am I think I learned how much LeBron James was worth yesterday, and it's billions. And so if I'm that age and I have that much money, do I have an expectation? But he worked from this level to this level, whereas other people are born with it, right? And if you're born with it and you were always on mommy and daddy's boat, do you automatically assume that something is necessary? And Juliana, when I say this, I laugh when I sell homes and they don't have granite or quartz countertops, because there are young people who think that your kitchen doesn't work if you don't have granite or quartz. And you're like, nope, it still works. Trust me, But there is this degree of expectation based on how you were raised,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So what do you have coming up? Like what's going on in the future?
So for now, well, I've been traveling a little bit. We could not schedule this call sooner because I was actually in China a few weeks back. So today, this shipyard that we are following with Revolution Marine that we are bringing to the US next year, the shipyard is in China. So I'm working closely with them nowadays.
Wow.
And we can expect in a few months from now, in this incredible boat coming with it's a brand new shipyard. It's not brand new, it's a quite new shipyard. They already have several boats in the water. I was very surprised, very positive surprise with the product, with the quality that they're building there in China. And I'm very happy to be part of this project because being part of this projects in the start, it's very exciting because you still have I think I have so much to give in terms of to improve their product. So I think it's going to be
you probably do.
I think it's going to be
especially here in the States, right?
I think it's going to be a very nice product coming up, and I'm pretty sure that our US clients are going to love it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you're a woman in a predominantly man's world?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
And do you think that at this point is making you work harder to build your name and reputation? Or do you think that, because to me, from a design perspective, I would think that, oh yeah, I'd take a woman. Although my brother has good taste, he's good with design.
So in this area, it's very interesting because it depends on how you want to work on this market. If you just want to talk to the clients and choose materials, it's one thing. But I want to guide my clients with the proper set of the interiors. So if they request changes, I need to be able to tell them, yes, this is possible. or no, this is not possible because of I don't know, because we have structure, because we have cablings, pipings, we have everything behind that we don't see it. So, and this is where I like to be involved. Sometimes I regret not doing naval engineering, but I love design. But I love to be involved in these parts, because if you don't know the skeleton of the boat, how can you develop something? So how can you do the pretty part if you don't know what's going inside of the boat? So this is very difficult on this board because it's very male, and I did had some very interesting encounters with it's tough, but well, we're here.
Well, clearly you're doing it.
Yes.
You're clearly doing it. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, but first I'm gonna tell you, if you get to California, or if you're gonna be longer in Miami than like 24 hours, tell me.
Okay.
I would love, and sooner or later you're gonna be in California, which is way closer for me. But it would be really, really fun to see
I
you.
think in a few months I will be.
And she's more flexible. And before you close it, Donna, I just have to say, as I'm hearing catamaran in my head, and with what I just did, I think there's got to be a downsized modification that we can call a Santa Moran. And I want
Santa Moran?
Oh, that's nice.
And white.
You work on that red, green, and
That's
white.
it.
Those are Mexico colors, I think. So,
Okay.
like almondrado or
That'd
something.
be awesome.
So
we can even do some reindeers
There
on
you
the dragging the boat. I think
exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We can work on that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Brother Eric, you got to make way more money before we design one of those. So, all right, I'm going to do the exit here and take us out. Juliana, thank you so much for joining. It's lovely seeing you again. I'm so glad that we met, however bizarre of a meeting it was. Yeah. And please tell Giovanni that I said hi. And
I will.
I said hello. So as we end this episode, I want to thank everybody for listening as we talk a little bit about memories, recent memories, and reflect a little bit on lifestyle and how it relates to real estate. This was a unique episode. And keep in mind that our job here and our hope is that we communicate, educate, entertain, and connect with our listeners. If you're in Arizona, specifically I'm in Tucson, Southern Arizona, or if you're in South Central Texas near San Antonio, Eric and I are both real estate agents with Keller Williams, and we're happy to help you find a home that's perfect for your family. And remember, if you need help across the world, I just had somebody ask about Italy, Juliana. I'll have to tell you this.
Okay.
Story.
Yeah, we can connect you with agents not only here in the United States, but around the world. And remember, it may be simple. It ain't always easy. So until the next time, I'm Donna.
And I'm Eric.
And we are
Real Siblings.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Juliana.
Recording.
I'll need all your links to put in the show notes.
Every time I think about the places I have known, I realize that times have changed. So I'll do what I can to make this house into a home. Yeah, yeah.
Hi, I'm Annabelle, and I want to thank you for investing your valuable time in listening to Real Sibling. It Ain't Easy. I hope you found this episode informative and enjoyable. There are several ways you can support this podcast with my Grandpa Eric and Aunt Grandma. Please take the time to like, follow, and subscribe. Additionally, leave them a 5-star rating along with a review on your preferred podcast platform. The final thing I would ask is that you recommend this podcast to a friend, a family member, or an associate. Your engagement is critical to their ongoing success, and they look forward to connecting. Check out the show notes Grandpa put together with their contact information, including emails, phone numbers, and website. And remember, the Real Siblings look forward to hearing from you.